So our beginning point is the idea that children need a sense of connection, that a sense of connection, the feel of you, the feel of being connected and close with you, the feel of being seen by you, the feel of having your approval and your attention, that feel is vital for your child's intelligence. The children can't learn and they can't develop and they can't build good judgment without that sense of connection. It's as vital to them as breathing air and eating food and sleeping all night is. So we want to pay attention to the connection between parent and child because it's so vital to a child's mind. It's so vital to the learning process that in fact the mind doesn't develop without that sense of connection. It's also a sense of safety. In a way, the idea of I'm safe, someone's watching over me, nothing hard is going to happen, no one's going to be upset with me. That sense of safety and a sense that someone is watching and caring, those things really go together. In a child's mind and for a child's well-being, you can't really separate those two things. Feeling safe, feeling close, feeling connected. The idea that we'd like to introduce to you is that you pay attention to connection first in your relationship with your child. And that when you offer this sense of respect and warmth and attention, full-on attention to a child, their mind sees that you're there, that feels that this is what's offered, and it settles in. And what a child's mind does is that sense of connection goes straight to a part of the brain called the limbic system, which is the social emotional center of ourselves. It's the part of the mind, several complex structures in the mind. We don't know very much about these structures, but what we do know is that the limbic system is what processes all the nonverbal signals we give every day. We are giving 95% of the information about ourselves that our children receive is nonverbal. How we hold ourselves, the tone of voice that we carry, the expression on our face, the motions that we make, all of this shows whether we're thinking and our mind is open and we're ready to connect, or it shows that we're tense, preoccupied, worried, we've got things on our mind, we have an agenda and we want to make things happen in a certain way at a certain time right now the way we want it. And what children thrive on is this open mind, open communication highway towards us and away from us. So in a way, if you think of building connection, what we're thinking of is kind of an 8-lane highway, and let's say there's usually 4 lanes of us communicating towards our children, and we'd want to give them 4 lanes back for communicating towards us. And so when our child is playing on the floor and we come and kneel down, and just watch, we actually are opening up 7 lanes of communication from them to us because we're being very quiet on our side. We're just letting our nonverbal reassurance and our presence and our attention flow in towards them. So they're getting lots of nonverbal communication, but very little verbal communication from us, lots of acceptance, and they can show us a lot about themselves when we offer them, all the communication lanes, except a small verbal one. Oh, wow. Whoop, that one fell off the top. You going to put it back? And then you just watch. You're open. Whatever happens is interesting to you. You don't have an agenda. It's not like, well, aren't you going to put it back? It needs a top. I think that one's the right block for the top. It's not like that. It's like, oops, what you going to do now? So that's the kind of connection that we're talking about. It's called contingent communication. It's us opening our minds to whatever our child wants to show us, and then they show us, and then we respond a little bit, and then we open everything up again, and we wait and see what they want to do. That's the kind of connection that tells a child's limbic system, it's safe here, I'm well regarded, I've got the attention I need, now I can learn. And that allows the mind to really build intelligence and build judgment. So when you're doing this kind of connecting, when you're opening the avenues for your child to show you what they like and to talk to you and to play the way they want to play, you're supporting the building of your child's intelligence. And the limbic system is finding all the nourishment and reassurance it needs to allow the whole mind to work. So when you connect first, thinking follows. Your child can think. And where a child uses their mind intentionally is here in the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the mind that governs attention span. It governs reasoning. It governs impulse control. It governs the higher functions of the human mind. So impulse control is one of the important pieces that the prefrontal cortex governs. And if you want your child to have impulse control, then sending connection in to the limbic system so that they can feel you there gives them a chance to access, all the control they possibly can gather in a situation where it's tempting to get upset and grab or get upset and hit. So what we want to do is we want to show you how you can build the connection and help your child feel you there through this limbic system, this very, very, very keen set of antennae that your child has developed to notice you there, to get the sense of connection so that they can use the judgment that they've built so far. Children don't want to hit. Children don't want to be hard on anybody. Children love to be cooperative. They love to add one more person to the game. They really enjoy sharing. They have generous hearts. As long as they feel safe and connected, all of that is true. So a couple of examples of children's generosity, even early in life, like most people assume that 2-year-olds can barely play with somebody else, that mostly they play alongside of other kids. But I did infant toddler care for quite a while, and I have such lovely stories of children really keying in on one another and feeling the importance of their relationships with each other at very, very young ages. So there was one time when this little boy was new and was very, very shy, and when we went out in the yard on one of his first days, he didn't feel like he could play with the other children, so he sat on this little cabinet, and he was kicking the cabinet with his feet, thump, 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 thump. He was just sitting there watching the kids and kicking. And one of the little girls, went outside and heard him thumping and looked at him and just watched for about 15, maybe 30 seconds, just watched him, thought about what to do, saw the look on his face, went over, sat right up next to him, looked at him, and started thumping on the cabinet right next to him. And he looked, and she thumped again. And he kept looking at her, and she thumped again. And pretty soon he was giggling. It's like, oh, somebody else wants to thump on the cabinet, And she kept, kicking the cabinet, and he kept kicking the cabinet, and there they are. And pretty soon both of them are laughing and kicking the cabinet, and they spent about 3 or 4 minutes having fun that way. And then he jumped down and ran and, went and played. It's like, she came, she paid attention, she did what he was doing, he laughed, she laughed, the tension broke, and all of a sudden he was glad to be there. He was in. She actually came and connected. So this kind of generosity children have when they feel safe, when they feel connected. I have another little story. One of our instructors is a preschool teacher, and she said that she teaches outside. They go on long hikes every day with her, the children do. And then they share lunch in some, little place by a tree, and one of the children saw another child's string cheese snack and asked, could I have a piece of that string cheese, please? It looks so good. And the little child whose snack it was just turned and smiled and said, I'd love to share it with you. I was hoping you would ask me, and then pulled half of the string cheese off and handed it. And You know, you don't see that in children very often, but when you do see it, what you're seeing is the way all children would like to be. Children carry tension that covers this, you know, kind of clouds this generous nature that they have from time to time. But this is a child's nature, is to be generous, to be warm, to be inclusive, to be relaxed. And we're going to help you uncover that, your child's generous nature underneath the hidden behavior that you're worried about. So I'd like to invite you to relax. We're going to teach you some things that you can try, and I think we'll be able to help.